let me ask a question that a lot of Americans have been debating right now. Is Iran actually a threat to the United States, or are we being pulled into another foreign war? Because depending on who you listen to, you're going to get two different stories. Welcome back to Aisha Speaks Truth. And if you've been on social media these last few weeks, I'm sure you have seen the debate about Iran, Israel, and the United States. Some people say that Iran is crucial right now for us to remove the threat and for global security. Others say that America shouldn't be involved in the Middle East at all. And actually, Americans just really want to know what's actually true. Is Iran a threat? Is this about protecting Israel? Or is the American public being pulled into something bigger? So today we're going to have a real conversation about it all. And I do have a special guest with me, Inez. She's an Iranian voice who has been outspoken about the reality of life under the Iranian regime and the human rights issues happening inside the country. She spent years helping people understand something really important, the difference between the Iranian people and the Iranian government. And she actually grew up around this culture and understand the region in a way most of us Americans simply do not. So I'm really excited to have this conversation. Inez, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Aisha.
It's awesome. So first, let me start with some background so that we can get to know who we're talking with. So you are from Iran. Can you share a little bit about your upbringing and how you came to the United States?
Of course, short version. Yes, I was born in Islamic Republic of Iran after the Islamic Revolution of 79. I was raised in the country of Islamic ruling, a family of Islamic ruling. I was not good enough of a Muslim. I was a little rebel. So I faced consequences such as prison time, detention center, arrest, lashes, inside and outside of home, that is. I was sold to marriage by my father at age 13. And at age 15, my grandmother, may she rest in peace, hired the smugglers to get me out of the country. They smuggled me from Iran to Turkey. I went through UN and proper channels and two interviews with US Embassy and a background check, full background check, and a medical check, and then made my way legally with the I-94, which is an asylum seeker, never expiring visa, to the United States of America when I was 18, and this was back in 2002.
Wow, thank you. You did that well. Well, we're awesome. It's just great to have you here and have you speak out on this so that we can know what's actually taking place there. When Americans hear the word Iran, they often assume the Iranian government represents the Iranian people. But from your perspective, do the Iranian people actually support the regime or are they trapped under it?
So, Iranian people are not only not supporting this regime, but let me quickly plug one of my 380 Substack I have written in less than a year. I wrote on my Substack showing that not only the regime doesn't represent Iranians and Iranians don't support the regime, but the Iranian people have been pushing against this regime from literally day one. In 1979, February 1st, 1979, Khamenei invaded my motherland and landed in a plane, took power, and on February 11th, 1979, he declared Iran Islamic Republic of Iran. That very year, in 1979, in March of 1979, Iranian women took on the streets opposing the mandatory hijab.
Mm.
From that day until today, over 12 uprisings have taken place inside Iran where people of Iran tried to overthrow the regime. That is by far historically the longest duration and the highest number of people of a nation trying to get rid of the government that's oppressing them, and that is Iran.
Thank you. For the people who may have only seen headlines, can you dive into a little of what actually happened between Israel, the United States, and Iran?
I need to go back in time, a long time ago. In 1979, everything starts in 79, Aisha, all of it. This is deeper than what we see in last 7 days. This is deeper than what we saw last year during 12 Days War. This is a very old, 47 years old fight. When Khomeini came to Iran on that February 1st, From airport, they drove him to the biggest and most known cemetery in Tehran. He sat there on a chair and he said, "Let the plan begin. We will take down the great Satan, America, and we will wipe Israel off the map." That's where the war started, with him that day announcing it. For last 47 years, Islamic Republic of Iran's IRGC, which is short for Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, has actively trained, armed, and funded their own soldiers and their proxies, such as Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas, to wipe Israel off the map and also to take down America. Record shows their attacks, their numbers, how many they have killed. We have seen it firsthand what they have done between Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas in Israel. And we have the embassy attacks, the bombings, and for your audience who may not know, hands of Islamic regime behind September 11. If you want more information, if you want evidence and court documents, go to Iran911case.com. Literal court documents there. They have left a long, bloody trail against Israel and America. Now, for many years, United States of America, under every president from Carter to today, they kept negotiating, they kept shaking hand, they kept legitimizing them, hoping it's going to change. President Trump, during his first term, decided to put way more pressure than anybody else on him with sanctions, walking away from Iran deal, which was wonderful and fabulous. He even took action against Qasem Soleimani after, under his leadership, they tried to storm our embassy and recreate the 1979 hostage crisis. But that was the end of it. That was the reaction by America. And during all these times, we also held Israel back from attacking military action against Iran. Last year in June 2025, Bibi Netanyahu decided it's enough. He's going in and he's going in to finish him. We all heard about the 12 Days War where Israel shook the world by showing them that this big, giant, bad monster that is untouchable is nothing but a paper tiger. Because in 12 days, IDF managed to literally cripple not just the regime, but their IRGC. However, under circumstances of diplomacy, United States of America, under leadership of President Trump, requested a ceasefire, got a ceasefire, and then told Iran, we're going to go to negotiation and you're going to stop your nuclear program. Fast forward to Friday of last week at 1:15 a.m., Bibi Netanyahu decided to go back in and finish what he was stopped from finishing last year. This time, however, under agreement, military agreement with our allies, including Israel, United States of America decided to stand by as a backup. I'm saying this because for anybody out there screaming unconstitutional action by Trump, by the way, I criticize Trump plenty, so I'm not the one who's going to cover up for Trump. But in this case, he did not break any rules, any laws, nor did he act on an unconstitutional decision.
Hmm.
We did not attack Iran on Friday. Israel retaliated on their attack, and we backed Israel up until Iran decided to hit one of our bases in Bahrain. Then we officially retaliated an attack on American soil.
So I really appreciate your insight because I love how you take us back to the history of things, which I think a lot of people who say America first and come from this place of isolationist, they don't consider that history or what we have seen in the past with Iran leading up to the tensions that we're seeing today. And so if we don't consider that, it kind of makes it look like, oh, we're just in another foreign war, or we're just protecting Israel. What are your thoughts on those that say, America first should be isolationist. America should not be even be involved in the Middle East. What are
Well,
your
let me answer you with a question towards you, and your audience are more than welcome to put their answers on the comment section. But you're taken hostage, Aisha. And in that moment, when you're a hostage, how long are you willing to wait uh, until the police comes and rescue you? Do you prefer them storm the location that they have of where you're being kept as soon as possible and release you? Or do you prefer to wait until they negotiate your release with your captors? I'm genuinely asking you this.
Hmm. I think it depends on the threat that they pose. So if,
The
for example,
threat is you have 24 hours or we'll kill her. That's the threat. It's a daily threat of your life. They will kill you tomorrow. They will kill you tomorrow. They will kill you tomorrow.
then I think it's no time. We need to storm it. We need to we need to act immediately.
Islamic Republic of Iran's regime has held America and Americans hostages for 47 years. Are we really going to continue waiting until negotiations answer? As I said, first act of Islamic Republic of Iran was to storm the US embassy inside Tehran and take hostages, Americans hostages. They kept them for 444 days. The very people who criticized Carter for not getting them out and trying to negotiate are now complaining about Trump trying to release all of us as hostages.
Mm,
That's hypocrisy.
mm,
And again, for anyone who thinks what I'm saying is not true, look, honestly, use your Google, Chat GPT, or Grok, whatever you use, preferred as better brain than someone who has lived it. Use it and ask in last 47 years how many Americans have been killed in hands of Islamic Republic of Iran and how many sleeper cells of IRGC are inside America waiting for an order to blow the bomb.
mm.
That is hostage crisis. We've been hostages, every single one of us. So, no. Also, another problem, with all due respect to all my fellow Americans, I love every single one of you. But the American education system has taught you nothing outside of these borders.
Yes, agree.
Iran is not Iraq. Iran is not Afghanistan. And I'm not saying that because I'm Iranian. I'll explain it. Iraq and Afghanistan and Pakistan and Libya, Kuwait, Bahrain, Dubai, you name them, any of them. They are what we call a drawn by pen country, meaning one of the Western countries, either United States of America or UK or France or Italy, pick up the pen during some crisis and said, "Here, this is the border of your country." That means that country exists as creation of Western Empire, which means there is no race behind them, there is no culture behind them, there is no heritage or history behind them. They belong to a nation and they were excluded into their own country. Now let's talk about Iran. Persia is one of the first three existing nations in Middle East from the time of known to human society. Now, to compare these people who come from 2800 years of history, culture, heritage, kingdom, dynasties, modernism, and Cyrus the Great, who wrote the first Declaration of Human Rights, to compare them to made up countries and people makes no sense. Second reason Iran is not Iraq or Afghanistan. When was the last time you heard Iraqis took on a street to overthrow Saddam Hussein?
Mm,
Or when was the last time you heard Afghans were on the streets getting shot and killed by Taliban to try to overthrow Taliban? Answer is never. I just told you for 12 times over the last 47 years, Iranians took on their streets empty handed. They died. In last 6 weeks of the revolution before this war started, 53,000 Iranians were killed by hands of the regime they were trying to overthrow. So the difference comes to a strategy. You go up against people who are not happy with their government, but they don't have the bravery to overthrow it
mm,
versus a country that is filled with over 70% of the people who are willing to die for this freedom. That's the difference. You have the supportive Iranian people on the ground who will support, and you see videos coming out of support for Bibi and Trump. So that's where the problem is. We're constantly comparing this to Iraq and Afghanistan. I
mm,
understand we all have a very bad taste of those two wars. I don't disagree. But the target and the location and the people are very different story this time.
mm. So good.
Sorry,
Can I
tell me if I'm going too long on
No,
my
can I say
answers.
again that I'm just happy to have you on to
I
break this
appreciate that.
down? We this is what the American people we need to hear this, and you're the right person to bring it because of your experience, your knowledge, and also your connections that you have. This is another question that I know a lot of millions of Americans are debating right now online, and it's that is Iran actually was Iran actually close to getting a nuclear weapon, or was that being exaggerated?
Okay, I'm going to answer that from my own investigation, my own documentation, and all of that again is available on my Substack. So I'm not just winging some information here. Islamic Republic of Iran was not getting close to having nuclear weapon. They already had their first one. This is backed not just by me, by other researchers who have put out evidence. Islamic Republic of Iran was in process of making more, and they also had over 400 kilograms, or however you pronounce that measurement, yes, of 60 plus percent enriched uranium. After the 12 days war, when we dropped our B2s, I reported immediately that we didn't touch that 400 kilograms. Everybody said wrong. But then, a few months later, the agency itself came out and said they are missing. We don't know where they are. And this is getting too dangerous because now we can't even track where the uranium is. So, to answer your question, it's actually being underplayed, not over exaggerated. They already had their first weapon.
Now, weren't they blocking, forgive me, I might butcher this, but isn't it the International Energy Atomic Agency, I'm referring to?
The
The
agent, yeah, you
IE
can just say nuclear agency.
Thank you. So the
Yes.
nuclear agency, I read that they were not allowing them to come and do analysis of the area even,
No.
that they weren't cooperating.
Well, they never cooperated even from day one. The visits we had during Obama's deal was pre-scheduled and supervised. But after the 12 days war, and when their sites were hit, though they managed to move all of the uranium and a lot of the equipment to a Kolang mountain, which was prepared, it was being built years before, and we kept trying to tell everybody, nobody was listening. What did happen was on October 25th of 25, the original agreement of the agency and Islamic Republic of Iran came to an end. And they said, because of what you did during 12 days, and at the end of 12 days, we're not renewing that. So it went from supervised and kind of fake supervision and monitoring and visitations to absolutely zero contact, none. And that's when the agency was pretty concerned that with all the uranium missing from their track, we know where it is. And by we, I mean those of us who have tracked it, which means I don't think agency is telling the truth. For the record, they should know where the uranium is. That's when they became very concerned. That's when the talks started between Israel and US. And IDF has already released information. The war was scheduled for mid 26. They were going in mid 26. They had to expedite it and push it earlier based on that information and also the revolution that was taking place inside Iran. So yes, there was they cut all ties with the agency after October 25th of 2025.
Mm, yeah, wow. And just for the people that don't know, when you're enriching uranium, I think at 3%, that's when you can produce electricity. Like this is very, very powerful material. And then at 60%, I believe you're close to 90%, you're producing nuclear weapons. And I think for Iran, just the leaders of Iran just shouting death to America and death to Israel, their main objective with developing these weapons is just to target us and Israel, correct?
I personally have never believed that they were going to use those nukes against us or Israel for that matter. Now, but the Israel idea, mind you, let's go into the roots of their ideology, Islam and Sharia. The Holy Land, the fight is Israel is their holy land, Muhammad's holy land versus ours. They are not to, uh, they are not to, what is the English word? I'm drawing a blank on it. Poison the land.
Desecrate?
No, it's a different word. Contaminate.
Okay. Uh-huh.
They're not to do that. That has always been the reason that I said they will not nuke Israel,
Mm.
because with that, they have gone against the orders and cleaning the land from the poison or the material will defeat the purpose. However, I do believe they were planning to do exactly what China has done to us, which is continue holding us hostages. Now they have the weapon or enough weapons, nuclear weapons, to get us to do everything they want or
So
keep
fear.
negotiating. It was more of a negotiation tactic for them than usage.
Understanding. So you mentioned earlier that they operate by their proxies, right? Because Iran doesn't usually establish allies outside of the proxies, and I guess fear that they're projecting on the other nations to get them to do what they want to do. So is that the angle that you're taking? It's just like to make the other nations or have them believe we have these weapons so that we can control them.
Yes, again goes back to their ideology. Their prophet Muhammad said that the heaven is under the shadow of the sword. The translation by Tafsir or the Muftis is you hold the fear, the sword, over your enemies for them to either convert or become second class citizens and follow your orders and your request. And again, for 47 years, they've done it. But as the world advances, Iran figured, okay, we don't have enough to continue this upper hand game with them. So now we need to show them we have the nukes, and one wouldn't be enough for anyone to be scared.
Right. So my question is if the whole game plan was to make it seem like we have these things, why don't they just say that we already have it developed to 90% versus saying, because I heard a report from Fox News that when Steve Witkoff sat down with them, the first thing that came out of their mouth at the negotiating table was we have 460 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%. Was like that's our negotiation right there. It's like we know what you want to negotiate, and we're not going to do it, and we're enriching. So why don't they just, make it up or lie and say, we have it enriched already to 90%.
Because if they admittedly said that without saying that, look what's happening to them today. Unless they had the proof to show, they knew they're going to be attacked. So they had to make it before they could claim it.
Mm,
It's called buying time.
mm,
And they knew they're not dealing with Obama, right?
interesting.
Let's not forget, historically, if it wasn't for Hussein Obama, they wouldn't have the first one either. They
Mm,
owe that to Hussein Obama.
yeah.
So with that, they couldn't come out and bluff. That was too big of a risk to bluff on. With especially with Israel standing by and
Mhm.
proving to the world in 12 days alone, they did what they did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Israel is a very strong ally. I would have to say that. Just the fact that I believe it was, I can't remember the actual date, so forgive me if drawing a blank. But when they went up against Egypt and many different nations, and they acquired Gaza during that time, where they acquired Gaza and these other lands back, that the UN made them give back to Egypt during that time. It's like they went against like what, six different nations and defeated them. It's like insane.
Well, if you look at it, they're still doing that.
It's like this small nation going. It's insane. So it's like I don't know. If God's not on that nation, I don't know what is.
And also, yes, I agree. God is on that nation, but let's try to learn a lesson from that for my fellow Americans. One of the reasons Israel has survived, I can't say they thrive yet, but they have survived all these years of fighting almost every single neighbor and some neighbor of the neighbors, is the fact that number one, the people of Israel have come to understand the threat. Therefore, instead of pity party around little tiny objects of their politicians, they stand strong by their politicians when it's needed. That's number one. Number two, people of Israel have never forgotten the genocide of their people. They haven't. Question is, have we?
Hmm.
Do we still remember September 11? Oh, wait, that was an inside job. Oh, never mind. Sarcasm in parentheses. That's the difference. That's how a nation survives. Again, a
Mhm.
nation that prefers clickbait and drama over reality and truth has a lesser chance of surviving enemies.
All right, so good. Okay, let me get to the first sponsor and then we'll come right back in. So, the first sponsor that we have today is a brand that I absolutely love. It's Your Skincare. This is a brand that I've been working with since 2023 when I started on TikTok as a beauty creator. And I love their items. They're all made here in the US. They have makeup and they have skincare items all clean. You can use their stuff even when you're pregnant. They designed it that way. So, they are very awesome brand and they have a wide range of products. The one thing that stood out to me that actually made me want to try out their products and work with them is that when you get on their website, they actually have an AI skincare tool where you'll put your information and your demographic information. It'll ask you questions about your habits. That way, it can give you a targeted plan on your skin's needs because as we all know we all might have a breakout, but the reason why you're breaking out is unique to your habits and your environment. So that AI skincare tool is to help you get a more targeted routine that actually works, which I loved. And when I used their product, I got my targeted routine. I used it for a few weeks. I was like, I'm sold because I saw the difference on my skin. This is a brand that I've consistently used since 2023. So if anything great of my skin, I attribute it to them because I've been consistent with their stuff. Never experienced a breakout, never any issues with my skin using their products. So I highly recommend this to all of my audience if you want to try something that is great for sensitive skin, that has a wide variety of options, that they do have a plan to get you targeted so that way you have something that is more close to working for your needs. And then there's options on both makeup and skincare. This is the brand. And so if you see that link there, if you're in the show notes, if you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, you should see in the show notes Your Skincare. There is a link directly to their website. If you don't, I would screenshot this image that you're seeing, and that discount code will take you to the website, and you can get your kit, which will include free birthday gifts, free refills, and free shipping. Also, if you want to shop my Amazon storefront, there's a code that you can use this Aisha 15 off as well. And those that link to the my Amazon storefronts also in the show notes. Now, the only perk you get from shopping Amazon is just 15% off. If you hit the website, you get all those other perks. Okay. So check them out. Highly recommend them. I love this brand. They are consistently dropping new things. And yeah, 10 out of 10 recommend if there's any brand out there that I know are also really good, like Medicube and etc. This is the brand that I can 100% put myself behind because I've used their stuff for so long and seen consistent results. So yeah, check them out. All right. So this is good. So I want to get into understanding the Iranian government, and I know that we have them toppled with the deceased, with Ayatollah Khamenei being deceased, right? Um, so most Americans assume Iran has a government similar to other countries, but that's not really how it works. And like you mentioned before, our school system really doesn't do a good job in getting us outside of the borders so we can understand the different governments that are out in the world, and then make right assessments on what we're hearing and seeing in the media. Can you explain how the Ayatollah system actually controls the country? Go a little bit more into that.
Absolutely. So I do need to make a quick correction. The regime has not been toppled by death of Khamenei. It has been crippled, or not even crippled. It has been rattled, but it's not toppled yet. Reason. So when you are in a country called Velayat Faqih, which is supreme leadership under Shia Sharia, which is Iran, the supreme leader is the boss. Yes. Everything, and I mean every breath taken, has to be approved by the supreme leader. However, there is a wider control into it. There is the judiciary system, and when I say judiciary system, I'm not talking about something like we have here based on law and order of passed by Congress and Senate. No, judicial system is built of only clerics who have the qualification and education to understand Sharia. So therefore, they can study the case and come up with the justice or judgment or solution to the problem on hand. Therefore, their ruling changes by minute because each circumstance they can go to Sharia and come back with, no, this is different, therefore we're going to deal with it differently. There is no set of rules. Even if you read the penal code of Islamic Republic of Iran, you notice Each crime has 3 to 4 different options of punishment, not sentencing difference. Because I understand here you might be convicted, and then your sentencing might be from 2 years to 10 years, pending on yada, yada, yada. No, that's different. In penal code, depending on your crime, the clerics of the judiciary system will sit there and dig into Sharia, dig into Muhammad's life, dig into Quran, and see how far against Sharia you went. It has nothing to do with your empathy, sympathy, circumstances. For example, there is no such a thing as manslaughter or self-defense when it comes to murder. If you kill someone, no matter the circumstances, you're still going to be convicted of murder. Now, the rest makes no difference, actually, believe it or not. It doesn't matter how you killed someone. It doesn't. You end up needing the family members of that person's forgiveness. And if they don't forgive, you're going to be hunged no matter what. Now, if they do forgive you, then comes the judiciary system telling you what will be the cost of blood money. They will set that. You might end up paying $5,000, you might end up paying $5 million. The reason I'm giving these examples is because, exactly as you said, there is no set of a standard into this government. Literally every morning they make up new rules. They go in, they read the Quran, they're like, oh no, here it meant that, not this. Then we have the branch of, how do I, assembly of experts is the best way I can translate that word. Who are these people? They're again 88 clerics, high ranking Shia clerics, who sit there and do the qualification of anyone involved with the government, including the supreme leader. So, yes, Supreme Leader has a lot of power. But even before he can become the Supreme Leader, the Assembly of Experts needs to approve of his qualifications. And the qualification isn't just your resume, it is your education. You have to have the highest Islamic education to be a faqih, meaning to be a Supreme Leader. After that, they will measure your commitment to the cause of Allah as to, did you ever issue a fatwa? Are you willing to kill yourself for Allah? Is your family tightly Muslim? All of that comes in. After that comes your, what they call, the Islamic maturity by a spirit, meaning how deeply the brainwash has worked on you. Those 88 people will approve everybody, supreme leader, president candidates, you name them. Which, by the way, that was the building we hit 3 days ago. With we don't have confirmation who's dead, who's not, but that building was hit, which means there will be a delay on picking the new supreme leader. Though Khamenei's son was pushed on the seat, he's not officially the supreme leader because the Assembly of Experts is disassembled at the moment. They don't have enough votes. By the way, you need 2/3 of the 88 people to vote yes on a supreme leader.
Thank you for
So,
mentioning all that. Yeah.
of course, generally, it's a domino, I call it a domino effect. All three, supreme leader, judiciary, and assembly of experts, under the umbrella of the guardian council now. Guardian council is the pictures you see of these old mullahs with a stamp of prayer stone mark on their forehead, where you look at them, you're like, I don't want to be around you. Those are the guardian council. They are guarding the ethnicity of Sharia being practiced within those 3 chapters.
Hmm. Wow.
I hope that helped answer that question.
No, that is good. Thank you so much. That brings a lot of clarity. With that, I want to you hit on the other question I was going to ask, which was who do you think would be raised up as the next leader? Do you have an opinion on that? I know you mentioned that they were trying to make Khamenei's son, but that has to be voted on. Do you have any further insight or thoughts on who could be placed next?
By the Islamic regime?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're going to try to make him the final king, the supreme leader. They're going to try that. Now, I put out a Substack on a note format. This is too important, especially for Americans to understand the achievement we have reached. Based on my reporting, we're probably chasing a ghost. So let's go to February 28th when Khamenei was taken out. The building that was hit. The confirmed reports from IRGC itself says the former supreme leader Khamenei was in there dead. His wife, his daughter, his son-in-law, his grandchild, his daughter-in-law, all confirmed dead. You want to explain to me how did Moshaba's even wife in that building died, but he didn't? And now he's the supreme leader? I do strongly believe, especially because based on their own tradition, when a new supreme leader is named, even temporary, by the way, his father was named temporary supreme leader, ended up staying in power for 37 years. It's a historic fact in there that though they have all these really tight departments, but when it's need to survive, they will break every rule and every law, like they did with his father and now with him. He is supposed to be crowned. Like literally, they have this ceremony when he shows up, even if it's in a bunker, he needs to come and take an oath. We haven't seen that yet, and it's been 3 days since the announcement. I do strongly believe he is dead also with that very attack that took out his father, his mother, his sister, his brother-in-law, and his wife. However, and I said it on myself, if, huge if Moshe Khamenei is alive, they will keep him in power for three reasons. Number one, though he was never an official member of Islamic government in Iran, he had the strongest influence behind the scene through his father in two very important departments. One, IRGC. He had a lot of control, and that's why IRGC nominated him to be the next supreme leader. Number two, he played a huge role on every single crackdown and killing of Iranian protesters inside Iran. Those two are good signs for him to come to power. Though, again, I repeat, we strongly believe he's dead. But the fear of his name is what the regime is using against Iranian people inside Iran.
Hmm.
Immediately day after he's named the supreme leader, first Mufti in Iran comes out and does a show or does a broadcast, live broadcast in Farsi, addressing Iranian parents inside Iran, saying, "Listen, we don't want to kill your kids." But if a single one of them even raised their voice in support of Israel or America, we have already put in place a shoot to kill order. There's a shoot to kill order against Iranian citizens inside Iran, anyone who even says the name Bibi or Trump. And this was day after the ghost became the supreme leader. So that's my very, very connected dots of years of history of Khamenei's son. I strongly believe we're chasing after a ghost. There's no need to go take him out. He was taken out. They're just using his name and the fear that comes with his name against Iranian people because that's their second fear. If people get the green light to come on the streets now, it's over. So they're going to try to control people inside Iran by saying Mujtaba Khamenei is the supreme leader.
And when it comes to the education in Iran, because you mentioned that they have to train these leaders up, do women get the same type of education, or is it distinction?
A
How does
woman
that
does not have the right to be in anywhere near the religious leadership. You can be a woman and go to any of those schools. You can go to Islamic school to become a Islamic teacher at girls' high school, but that's as high as your ranking goes. There are no judges in Iran that are women. Therefore, because that's the thing, to be a judge in Iran, you need to have a certain uh, Sharia education as well. But there's a tap, like a woman can go to Islamic school in Iran and become the highest of it will be either an Islamic advisor to the students and universities, female students, or a teacher of highest level of high school.
Okay, can you answer this for me? What about becoming a doctor or a profession in that regard? Can women do that?
Yes, I would say depend on what kind of doctor. A woman can study uh, engineering and medical, but certain only certain groups, certain lines of it. Majors, there you go. Not all, but most of them, I would say, depends. You can do that, yes. But then
Okay.
good luck getting the job, though.
Mm. Oh, yeah, it's because of the economy.
Well, no, it's
Is
more of
that
to all the leftists out there screaming.
yes.
You want to see sexism? Go to Iran. We have higher number of female higher education who do not get the job than men do.
Mm. What about the LGBTQ? Because you know, we saw a lot of support for from that side towards Hamas, which is one of their proxies, and how are is that group of people viewed?
If you remember, Ahmadinejad, former president of Islamic Republic of Iran, flat out said we don't have any gays in Iran. You don't do that. If you belong to LGBTQ, you stay underground, you stay quiet. Otherwise, you will be, well, depending on which country you're on. In Iran, you will be hanged. In Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Gaza border, you be thrown off a building. In Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, you be stoned to death. Anyways, you die. Different methods, but you still die.
Wow. Okay. Uh, okay. Um, so
And let me just put something in there. I know I've been on your show before, but just in case if
mhm.
your audience haven't come to know how much receipt I show before I open my mouth.
Oh,
The Penal Code of Islamic Republic of Iran, Penal Code of Kuwait, Penal Code of Saudi Arabia, Penal Code of Afghanistan and Pakistan, they are available in English. Just look them up. You'll see these punishments.
um, so I spoke with a woman who was in the army and she was stationed in Bahrain, and she told me that what she saw or what she heard from the people was that there would be stonings for certain things, and the stonings didn't look like, she said it didn't look like the past in ancient Israel we saw like them throwing, I think she said something about they got like buckets or something like that and they put you underneath a bunch of stones or something like that. Does that make sense to you, or can you
By
clarify
a
it?
standard description of Sharia, uh, you will be buried
Okay, that probably was where she was getting at.
up to your chest with your arms inside. So you're buried up to your chest with your arms inside. And when I say buried, you're completely buried, meaning you can't get your hands off out of the section. And then the stones will be thrown at you until you die or you dig your way up. If you manage to dig your way up out of that hole, you will be freed. Historically, I know of no one who managed to do that yet, but we keep
It's not funny
trying.
actually.
No, it's tragically funny. It is tragically funny because when you look at some of the punishments by Sharia, it tries to show you mercy, but then you see it's a charade.
Mm.
Because let's say a woman, not even my height, I'm fairly tall. Let's say an average woman of 5'6", 5'7", buried up to her chest with her arm inside. And when when they dig the hole, it's literally a hole. Like it's per your measure. That's how it's dug. So it's not like a wide area where you can use your hand to dig the dirt off and come up. You're buried to your chest while dealing with the pain of the stones being thrown at you. There may be some people panic of this is your last breath. They want you to manage to use your logic and your teaching and your education to figure out a way to dig your way out of here. It's very much impossible. That's why it's tragic for people who think there is some sort of, we believe in the same God. Allah is merciful. No, he isn't. He's a sick person who came up with all these terrible ways of killing people,
Mm.
who never referred to us as his creation, rather his slaves. I'm going to stop there because I can talk about that one for 2 days. But yes, that
Yeah.
is how they do the
Well,
stoning traditionally.
to my audience, listen, if you guys would love her to come back and dig more into the religious side of things, I would love to have her back on. So just let me know on that. While we're on that same note, I'm gonna hit that question I told you that one of my followers had underneath the post. I probably shouldn't have put links in the post because sometimes when you do that, Facebook suppresses the views. So I don't know how many people were able to see this. But the question that he had was, how common are child brides in modern day Iran?
Well, I completely understand the question and I respect your question. But let me address something. This is a proper question, but even one shouldn't happen. So when I hear the word how common it is, I don't even know how to address that because to me, there is no such a thing as common, if that makes sense. And again, this is not toward the person who asked. I understand the question comes up, but even one is too many. There should be zero. However, in Iran, based on Islamic Republic of Iran's own reporting, they have, just so you know, the category of registration of marriages of girls in Iran is from 0 to 15. You heard that correctly. 0 years old to 15. And then 15 to 18, 18 to 25, 25 to 40, 40 to end. That's how they categorize their registries. In average, every year, the 0 to 15 is producing somewhere close to over 100,000. On the 15 to 18, they are averaging somewhere between 800,000 to a million. Uh, I'll let you be the judge of how common that counts.
Wow, sad. Kurt August, thank you so much for your question as well. And Ines, thank you for answering that.
Of course.
It's really sad. I'm gonna get to an ad break and then we
And
will
and wait, I need to add a note.
go ahead.
By comparison, however, Iran does not have the highest number between the Islamic countries.
Who does?
Pakistan and Afghanistan.
All right. Okay. Let me pause and we'll get to this ad break and then I'll hold you for one more segment. I know we're getting close to time. But I want to get to some more questions that I know that are public and circulating in our country at this time. But our next sponsor is Jace Medical, and this is a company that allows you to get prescribed medication sent right to your door, and this is in cases of emergencies, natural disasters, etc. So if you are somebody that likes to prepare for things like that, or or you have someone in your family that needs critical medications, say albuterol or insulin, this is a great way for you to have a stash on hand in case of natural disasters or emergencies where FEMA or other services like that cannot get to you quickly. So they do have a website where you can go, jacemedical.com. And if you put in my code, Aisha, all lowercase, you will be able to get a discount off of your kit. The kit comes in a beautiful blue box, and it's just everything that you order will be in there, and you can choose what works for you, what you need. You can also make sure that you get medication that don't that if you have allergies, you can make sure that you stay away from those options. The one thing I love about this company is they do have actual physicians who are prescribing the medication, so they will double check before sending it out after you order to make sure that what you have is correct and nothing put inside of your kit is anything that could affect you in any way in terms of allergies. So if you want to check them out, jacemedical.com is the website, and you can use my code Aisha lowercase, and that will give you a good discount when you are checking out. And that is also in the show notes if you want to click on the link as well to be directed there. Okay. Um, so we hit on a couple of different things. I do want to hit a little bit on the religious aspect, just a little bit, not dive too much into it. Uh, but I do want to share with you a report that I got from CBN that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to get your comment on this to just get more insight. So CBN said that Iranians were crossing into Armenia, and they were hearing the gospel, and they said that this number wasn't like huge, but some were crossing the borders, and that at this time, the other report was that at this time, not only are the Iranians forsaking the regime, but some of them are also forsaking the religion, blaming that, as a part of the regime. And so they're either turning to atheism or Christianity or another other belief. So my question to you is this something that you've heard of or seen, or you know, not seen, but something that you know that is taking place, and what does that mean when it comes to the church in, or even underground church, these in Armenia? What does that mean for Christianity when it comes to reaching these people? What are your thoughts on that?
I cannot confirm the claim of Iranians crossing border to Armenia. I could lean toward I don't think that's true. Just the crossing part of it, forget about the rest. For the fact that I actually reported myself, to their complete surprise, there hasn't been a spike in Iranians leaving any border, especially like Turkey. Erdogan reported like, "Where are you? I thought you were going to flood my country." What I can confirm, not today, not yesterday, last 3 years, there has been a unbelievable and unheard of in history of Iran, a reawakening of Iranians coming to Christ. Yes, the number of underground churches are just I can't even comprehend. Um, I can also say that even before the war, starting December 27th, when the start of uprising was, and then turned into a revolution and then into a war, Iranians were already burning down mosques and Quran. By the time before we go from revolution into the war, reports confirmed that 250 mosques were burned down to ashes in Iran. 250 of them. The Islamic Republic of Iran's broadcasting itself came out crying wolf, that over they have confirmation that over 10,000 Qurans inside these mosques were also burnt. So we got to go back to history again. Uh, you see it on social media. A lot of Iranians are posting that I'm Persian, I'm not Islamic. Persia by history has not been Islamic. It was conquered by Islam more than once. This one is the last time. A lot of Iranians, well, they were forced to pretend to be Muslims behind closed doors. You barely found Muslims. For over a decade, I've been telling people that behind closed doors, in reality, when you do the count of numbers, less than 20% of Iranians practice Islam. The rest of them have to stay alive. So I did it. I came out wearing my hijab. I mean, I slept here and there, but I'm sure if I passed 15 and I was still in Iran, I would get it more serious and correct as well. So they have never been. But yes, the reawakening has been again last 3 4 years. It's not today. It's not crossing some border and hearing the gospel. No, it's been almost 4 years now that in millions Iranians have come to Christ inside Iran. Yes.
It's awesome. All right. I'm going to be a little bit more direct with this question, okay? Because I've seen this one circulating. So I see a lot of Americans, some are saying, why should we care about Iran at all? Let the Middle East deal with their own problems. All right. That isolationist type mentality. So if the United States completely ignored Iran, what would actually happen?
I'm going to give you an answer from an Iranian, and then I'll give you an answer as an American. As an Iranian, here's why US should care. Because United States of America directly destroyed Iran. They owe them. They owe Iranian people a fix. In 1979, they destroyed Iran. While Iran was known as mini America in Middle East, while Iran was the strongest ally of America in Middle East, even stronger than Israel, while Shah of Iran, King Pahlavi, was managing all of the issues by neighboring countries toward Israel, United States of America decided to join UK and unleash the Marxist Islamists inside Iran. So that's from my Iranian side. America owes Iranian people a rescue from their own planted disaster. As an American addressing it, a free Iran in Middle East will have the following impact on us here, Americans inside America. Number one, we are not going to have to look over our shoulder and constantly count the ticking bomb of the sleeper cells because they're not being funded by the biggest funder of jihad anymore. Number two, a free Iran inside Middle East means we can cut two-thirds of the military budget we're supporting Israel with, because Israel's not going to be heavily under attack anymore. They're not going to need all the money that you complain. Now, people out there who complain, why are we giving so much money to Israel? Well, we won't have to do that anymore if Iran is freed. Number three, we're not going to have to bend over backward for Saudi Arabia anymore, because Iran will become our strongest ally. And when it comes to gas and oil, we don't have to dance to Saudi's music anymore. They're going to have to dance to ours, because now there's a comprehensible competition against them, like it was during Pahlavi dynasty. Last but not least, economy and safety aside, during Pahlavi dynasty is how we ended up. Pardon me, as I'm going to probably bounce between Iranian American here for a minute, but one of the reasons our top 10 surgeons in America include four Iranians is because Iranians who are allies with America tend to enjoy coming and helping and getting help. This is started during Pahlavi dynasty. The first king Reza Pahlavi in Iran started this alliance with America, where we sent them help and they sent us help. Technology and medicine help was traded between the two countries. So we can continue having that. I think that should be enough reasons for us to care about Iran.
That was amazing. Yeah. I've never heard anybody argue the case for Israel and this the amount of money we send them for protection or
That's why I'm here.
intelligence, etc. I never heard it like that, so that was good because that is a complaint for some Americans.
Yeah, and that's the thing. These are the problems that could easily be resolved. But then we want to complain about the solution too. Let me
Mhm.
go on a rant here, Aisha, for a minute. I have been, Michael knows, from last year, this 12 days war until now, I've been against America getting involved. I said, let's just stay out of it. Israel can handle it. When and if they need us, we go in. I'm still on the same path. They needed us. We went in. We're already in. But during this 7 days or so, the number of messages I receive on you are a traitor, you're biased, you care about your motherland more than you care about America. I'm like, for love of all things logic, can you turn off your emotions for 5.5 seconds? If anybody should be going crazy right now, that would be yours truly. I'm in the worst spot you can imagine to be in your life. But I'm still managing to use my logic and look at a bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. Everybody who was so worried about midterm, guess what? With what just happened, and if we do this right, because we're not even halfway there. This is an if, we need to put it out there. If President Trump goes with the right plan, he has flipped more than 2.5 million Iranian American votes for Republican. What are you complaining about? He just secured midterm. Yeah, these
We
are the
already got it
little
with the Hispanic votes
right.
with,
It's
with
like
Maduro.
they
Yeah.
complain, but then when the solution is on the table, they want to complain about the solution too. And that goes back to where I say, with all the respect and all the love I can give from my heart to my fellow Americans, is stop being so spoiled. This isn't a tough time. This isn't and this is not a never-ending war where inflation, we're all going to die. Calm down.
Mm,
Just give it a minute. And again, it's been only a week. How do you call a war a never-ending war when it's been only 7 days?
mm,
You use your comparison, which is the number one poison inside American culture, the comparison game. Lives are being destroyed because we compare our life to those on social media, right? Life are being destroyed because we compare every single person to the last person.
mm,
One of the things I learned early on, and again, Michael can vouch for that, I don't do the comparison of, well, this time under Biden, this was the situation, under Bush was that. No, each individual, each hired president starts fresh for me. I look at their progress rather than comparison progress. But that's very American. We constantly we compare ourselves to other, we compare our kids to other, we compare our president to the last one. Stop. Iran is not Iraq. And even if it was, why don't we give it at least, I don't know, 3 weeks before we call it a never ending war? It's
mm.
been 7 days. Okay, rant over.
No, that's good. That's good. I think there's a place for it. I do agree with you. Comparison, it could definitely be a thief, it's a huge thief. But when it's like, for example, if we look at like how some on the left are screaming about this whole operation that Trump is doing right now in Iran, but then we praise Obama with Osama bin Laden and Iraq with the Saddam Hussein, and it's like Trump does it, and it's we see this TDS, right? And TDS, it sounded really funny in the beginning, but when you look at the fact that people constantly attack him, and with anything he does, it's like this is actually a real thing. This actually really does exist. It's like you just don't like him, no matter what he does, he can't win with you. Uh,
Yeah, I have addressed this TDS, and I have come to conclusion again as someone who's very in middle of the road, and I'm very good at giving credit when it's due. Even during these 7 days, I have constantly said, yes, I'm very proud of our man and woman in uniform, and
yeah.
we're doing a great job. But let's not forget the reason we are here. Main credit goes to Bibi. If Bibi didn't do what he did during 12 days war, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have this access and this achievement. So he needs to get some credit too. When we walk around, take all the credit. America did it. America did it. We got to give them credit as well. But I have addressed the TDS on both ends, actually, Aisha. There is the TDS, which is the original one you just talked about. I think it goes, what is it? Trump derangement
Yep.
syndrome. And
Trump
then
doing.
there's the other one, the other TDS, which is Trump defense syndrome. He can do
Ooh,
no
I never
wrong.
heard of that.
I know. But
Okay.
we have those, he
Okay.
can do no wrong, right?
Yeah.
And that's why
Mhm.
we're in a very unique situation. We never had a president or anyone in history of America that had two sides, one getting everything wrong, God, one getting everything right. That's why things are very complicated because
Mm,
we have lost the middle ground altogether. It's
mm.
either he does it all right or he does it all wrong. And then I come in and both sides attack me. And I'm like, I love my
It's
life.
like pick a side. Yeah. I love Donald Trump. I love the way that he handles things. I love his authenticity. But I do agree with you that there are some things that are distasteful that he does. And I can acknowledge that too. So yeah, I agree with you. Um, Man, okay, so we're getting close to the end of our time here. I really love having you on because you bring so much insight into an area where I feel like a lot of us are ignorant because, again, school system, etc. But then also we're hearing these different headlines and narratives from the mainstream media. And again, the average American is working basically all day. They don't normally have time to do research. And so they'll get their stuff from CNN and then call that truth instead of doing some more due diligence and understanding what's actually taking place here. We go off what sounds good, what seems right, and that's why I think that having a voice like you on to speak into this, I mean, you have the expertise in this area, could level this playing field, could actually bring truth, not be a say like Trump does everything right, let's go for Trump, but be that middle ground to say this is right and this is wrong, this is what I think and here's the evidence, etc. I think that's what we really need, and for the American people to judge rightly. And I don't want us as Americans to forget the history that you brought in at the beginning of this episode, because I think that's so telling for the reason why we are where we are right now, and if we don't act right now, what that means for America and us not being, America first. I love what Charlie said, Charlie Kirk. He said, America first is not America only, and that's true. I mean, Trump has constantly said, even with the tariffs, that it's not about necessarily crippling somebody else's economy. It's about reciprocity. And so it's not like we want to kill China's economy or we want to do anything like that. But he wants America to be on top. This is his nation. He's the president of. And so what leader wouldn't want the best for their nation? And so yeah, I appreciate the insight that you bring, the clarity and the expertise in that. And with that being said, guys, there is a book that she has released. Is this your first book, by the way?
This is the first book.
Wow,
Yes, ma'am.
congratulations. That's
Thank you.
awesome. What an accomplishment.
Thank you.
So this is her book. I want to say the architecture of jihad. It's this funny thing happening right now with Candace Owens where she butchered this word. They said that she's been butchering a lot of words, but I feel like I want to give her grace, even though I don't agree with anything that she's doing. I'm a mom too, and I like sometimes waking up multiple times during the night because I have she's not necessarily a newborn, but she's still learning how to get on the sleep schedule. it fries my brain having doing that every day and then having to still operate and try to operate a full capacity and try to speak eloquently so people can understand what I'm talking about, especially in politics. It's difficult. And she's doing these episodes every, not taking a break, which is her own fault. In what she's doing, she has put herself in this position and continues to put herself there. So I don't agree with her, and I know you don't either. Okay, we are here, but I just want to, yeah, I get the word slurring and stuff. I get it. But anyways, this is the book that has been released. If you can tell us a little bit about the book and then where can we pick it up? These are also in my show notes, guys. If you're watching via Facebook and YouTube and Rumble, I have the link to both places where you can get the book, and she's going to explain a little bit more.
Well, I appreciate that. And yes, I'm the last person to talk about mispronunciation and words of slurring. So
Voice. You have a beautiful accent. I love it. I even love how you say the different names in the Middle East, like how you say Tel Aviv, and oh, it's
yes.
just the way your language is beautiful.
Actually, thank you. It's funny because yesterday on a program, I was talking about the Kurds in Middle East, and the host was a dear friend. He said, "Well, let me tell my audience because your beautiful accent gets in the way. You mean Kurds?" I said, "Actually, this time is your accent, not mine."
Ooh,
And he just laughed. It's like, actually, fair enough. Because
like yeah.
when it comes to Middle East, I'm like, it's not Iran, it's Iran. It's not Iraq, it's Iraq. It's not Qatar, it's Qatar. So when it's Middle East, it's not my accent, it's yours. When it comes to America, it's my accent, not yours. And as much as, I would love to teach my American friends how to say all the names properly. I know it's impossible. However, I appreciate the compliment. You see, I just did it too. The architecture of jihad was not planned. A lot of my great supporters were actually disappointed. They all thought my first book will be my autobiography.
Mm,
Uh,
that would be nice.
After the 12 Days War, I came to realize something that became even more. I knew it, but it wasn't evident for me. And that was the fact that a lot of Western people are very aware of Sharia is not compatible. They're very aware of jihad. Oh, we got jihadi attacks and we have jihadists in America. We have jihadist danger in Canada, Europe. What they're not understanding is the roots and the expansion of this word. So I decided it's time to introduce anyone who's willing to read and learn to the entire phases of jihad. A lot of everybody knows jihad as war, waging war, and then some people are familiar with political jihad when they have their members running for offices. Some people are somewhat familiar with financial jihad, but technically there are 10 different phases of jihad in this book. There are 11 chapters, but 10 chapters are the 10 different phases of jihad. And we start with the actual meaning of that jihad. We go into the actual Islamic doctrine from Quran, Hadith, Surah, Sunnah, Tafsir, all of it. Then we go into time of Muhammad and how he used that form of jihad. And then I have a historical expansion of the jihad making its way to modern day. And then we talk about how that jihad is being used today in our countries as a modern version. And then we go to my favorite part, which most of those who have read the book have agreed that this is the first time there's a book telling you about the big bad monster of jihad. But then also at the end of each chapter, there are the practical countermeasures. I give my readers a step by step of how to reverse or stop this jihad from continuing in their area. None of them are go rely on your government. It is actions that you can take at home through your own system and help stop jihad in all phases. In the very last chapter, we talk about the united front, where we, the people of the world, not just America, but we, the people of the world, can stand together as united front and make sure that once and for all, this is exposed and the truth about jihad is spread everywhere. Factually, as I said in the book, there are many sources, there are many verses of Quran, doctrine, and historical facts that you can start spreading the truth about the real dangers of the architecture of jihad, not just jihad as war.
Cool. And where can we pick it up?
Best way. So the official release date is March 21st. But right now you can pre-order your Kindle on Amazon, or you can go to my website, liveuptofreedom.com, and order your signed copy, paperback signed copy that is available. But if you want to buy it off Amazon, and again, I'm sorry, because of ship madness of shipping cost, we're only shipping inside US as far as the signed copies goes. But when Amazon release it on 21st, wherever you are, it will be available on your Amazon stores.
Okay. Well, I will be picking one up. Guys, make sure you pick one up. I believe this is going to be very informative for us to see exactly what this system actually how it actually carries within our culture, and to identify it so we know what we're dealing with in our culture. So thank you so much, Inez, for today, for hopping in with me last minute again, and for giving your expertise. I will definitely have to ask you to come back on again. I'm sure amidst everything that's taking place, and just to continue to get your insight in this area, and to say what the mainstream media can't and won't. So thank you so much again for your time and expertise, and for
Ab-
putting out something that could carry on for generations. That book, I think, is going to be very, very, very significant. And hopefully you do an autobiography. That'd be great. I'd love to read that too.
I appreciate having me on. I do agree. I think this book will help many, and as one of the highlights of this process was when the godfather of anti-Sharia movement uh, forwarded the book, and that is Dr. Bill Warner. He
Mhm.
made a comment that I'm glad you did this because this isn't going to end with us. It's going to carry on. And at least now our kids will have a source to read and be
Yeah.
equipped. As far as the autobiography, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm sure when the time is right, Lord will put it in my heart and open the path for me to finish it. But at this point, I feel like my knowledge of this danger, it takes priority over my story, especially because most of it has been said on a stage, on my videos, on my interviews. But I have not closed that case, but I know today is not the day. Especially after this book, there's a series that needs to follow to make things easier and more understandable for people, especially our fellow Americans. I love you guys, but you are behind on studying this problem. So I'm going to catch you up. But I want to leave your audience with a thought, if that's okay.
Yes.
Um, Guys, one of the biggest beauties of America is we're free to have opinions. But sometimes in crisis of any sort, when your opinion becomes the highlight of your thought process, it can it can create a division between you and your love for your country.
Mm.
Be aware of your opinions before you word them into your social media, to your friends, on your text message, whatever it is. Though many of us, including myself, we wanted US to stay out militarily, our guys are there. They are there. There is no more questioning the reason. There's no more questioning their ability. Right now, the only thing we do for our troops is we pray for them and we support them. End of a story. Stop spreading so much negativity against the man and woman in uniform who are fighting a fight that you don't understand, but I do. Stop putting negative information about them out there. You're not helping, you're hurting the cause. When this is done, you all regret your negative thoughts, I promise you. But as of today, United States of America can be for once, after decades, show unity at least once toward our troops. Go at Trump, hate him, that's all right. But when it comes to our troops, be nice, be kind, pray for them, stand by them.
Thank you. I think we all can receive that and do that.
Amen.
All right, guys. Appreciate all of you guys for hopping in. Again, if you guys got questions, I'd love to send those to Inez as well. You can also follow her. Her information's in my show notes as well. Liveuptofreedom.com is where she's on. She's also on Substack as well. She's on all social platforms too. Inez Cyrus is her last name, Cyrus. So you can check her out as well. And make sure to get that book, guys, when that comes out. I declare you will sell out in Jesus' name. Uh, and thank you so much, Inez, again, for being a part of today's podcast, answering the pressing questions, and just sharing your expertise and just being willing to do this over and over and over again so people can wake up and know the truth. Um, all right, guys, make sure y'all tune back in with me next week. And until then, I will see you soon.